Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I call to order the Haslet City Council this January 13, 2025 at 7 p.m. There is a quorum present. And if you would bow your heads with me and then stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for your many blessings. We pray for our government, both national, state, county, and local. We all need your guidance. We ask that your blessings continue with us and your protection is always with us. In Jesus' name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have no proclamations or presentations this evening. We'll go to item 4, citizen participation and comments. Is there anyone in the chambers that would like to address the council on any item?
Mayor?
Is there any? Yes.
Yes. Dana Bridges would like to address the council.
All right then, Ms. Burgess. If you would come to the podium. And please, is the mic on up there, James? And if you give your name and address, please.
Dana Bridges, 129 Shriver Drive, Haslet, Texas, 76052.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do improvements on a little barn that I've got behind my house. I would like to turn it into a caretaker's quarters for my daughter to move in to help me take care of me and my property eventually. But as of right now, the city will only allow 500 square feet for a little building like that, and I'm asking for 700 square feet, which is just 200 square feet more, if possible, because she is getting married, and it's going to be tight for her and her husband to live there with 500 square feet. So I'm asking permission for 700.
Thank you.
Can I add to that? So
No, state your name and address, please.
Jeff Carr, and I live in another city, but you need my full address?
Yes.
6729 Sandra Drive, Dallas, Texas, 75214. I just wanted to add to that the reason for the appeal was that other areas are zoned a little bit differently for the square footage. For the caretaker's quarters, I think she's in R2, and some of the other ones, I didn't memorize them all, but I know AG and some of the other ones do allow this. So we're just simply requesting to be able to, maybe get that rezoned, or at least, I don't know if it would go through board adjustments or through her to just be able to add an extra 150, 200 square feet.
Thank you.
I just want to add to, I did get 3 of my neighbors' approval. They signed a little thing I drew up with their name, address, and phone numbers, just to let y'all know that they have no problem with it.
Thank you. Do we have anybody else? Is there anybody online?
No one has signified they want to speak.
Very good. All right, let's move on to item 5, community interest items. City offices will be closed Monday, February the 17th for President's Day. The first day to file an application on the May 3rd, 2025 general election ballot is this Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. The office of mayor, council member place 2, and council member place 4 will be on the city council agenda December the 9th, 2025. We have a misprint on this agenda. I will summarize Wednesday, January 15th. If you're interested in running for mayor, city council place 2, city council place 4, you can pick up your application packet at that time. Haslet Fire Department is currently accepting applications. No, they're not. That closed at 5 p.m. today. So we had a great response, and but that is closed. Item 6, administrative reports. Council, do you have any questions on any of the reports?
Yes, Mayor, on the 6I, the Economic Development Activity Report.
What item?
On the I-35 frontage section.
What item? 6 what?
Said 6I.
6I, thank you.
Yes. 6I, which is Economic Development Activity Report, page 68 to 69. On page 68, can we get a draft map showing this approximate 100 acres that's being removed from the ETJ and the reason why?
Yes, we can,
Thank you.
and we do have that. We'll distribute that out to the city council. And why? Because the landowners chose to do that. We have no other, they did not tell us why. They chose to pull out the ETJ.
Okay, so city has no control over the development of that 100 acres now.
No, thanks to Senate Bill 2038 that went into effect September 1, 2024. I believe I got that right. 20 when? September 1st, 2023. 23, excuse me. All it takes is a majority of the property owners, if it's just one or two, it's just those one or two individuals submitting a letter to the city of Haslet. Of course, they got to put it in a proper form and describe the property correctly and notify the city if they are pulling out of the ETJ. There is no asking. They just notify us, and then in 45 days, they are out.
Thank you.
And remember that. There are many other items similar to that coming up in your 89th legislature. Please explore that and see all those bills that are aimed at eliminating a municipality's ability to govern its land use. So, any other questions on any of the reports? All right, then. We can go to item 7, updates on active items, projects, and event recaps. Community park projects, you can see that the small playground area was more than refurbished, it was just rebuilt. James, you want to say anything more about that? James headed up that project.
Sure, yeah, just finished that. It is a refurbish of one of the old tire swings that were, so those are all in excess of 20 years old. They were removed, they put in a ground level carousel, so it takes away any of that worry they used to have with kids being trapped underneath. They're now flush. It has one spring rider and a 4-seat swing set that has 2 for children. One's what they call Mommy and Me, and the last one is just a regular swing set for average age kids. And then there is a pour-in-place fall zone, so that takes the place of the treated process wood before. It's supposed to last the lifespan of the other equipment. So everybody seems to be liking it. It's fully open and being
Well,
transparent.
it has been a big hit. I drive through the park every day, and lots of little ones and moms out there enjoying that new playground area. Very good. Keller Haslet Road Extension. That project is going very well. In fact, they're ahead of schedule. Would you like to say some short words on that one, Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, it's an exciting project. If you go by, can't blink very much because it's such a small gap to see, but you can actually, the road bed is graded out so you can see where the road's gonna be, kind of how it's gonna lay out. And the county is actually moved in as of today. We got a full 2 separate crews. One can work on the east and one can work on the west. So it's going really good.
So precinct 3 is that is from precinct 3, Tarrant County Precinct 3. Our new commissioner, Matt Kraus, whom I met with today, new commissioner for us, but it's precinct 3 provides a huge service to the city of Haslet. But it was not planned that they would double up the crews. It was not planned. The planned start for this project was December the 2nd. They actually started the first week of November. And so we've been ahead, and here they're doubling up the crews. They're making very good progress. Very happy with it.
Using it for training for a lot of their new young employees too. So that's a real big plus out there.
All right, let's go to item 8, consent agenda. We have approval of the December 9th, 2024 regular city council meeting minutes.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Motion is made to approve the December 9th, 2024 minutes. Is there a second?
Yes, Mayor, I'll second that.
There is a second. All in favor? It's unanimous. Item 9, public hearing ordinances, resolution, and action items.
Point of order, Mayor Halsey.
Yes.
I would like to know why the requested agenda items from last month's meeting were not added to this meeting.
That's not an item on this agenda, and that's not a valid point of order.
It's a valid point of order.
Mr. Page?
A point of order cannot be used to add anything to the agenda. Unfortunately, because of the Open Meetings Act, we can only discuss the items that are on the agenda.
Thank you, sir. Just want to put that on record.
Item 9A, discuss, consider, and act on the acceptance of dedicated easements for construction of TRA HC6 Henrietta Creek 24-inch sanitary sewer line. Mr. Anderson?
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor, Council. What we have before you are some easements that are about 18 months in the works. We've got here in the audience the developer for the project, Mr. Bruce French, who was helpful in getting this process going. The easements that you see on the screen are necessary to support the replacement TRA sewer line that is generally laid out there following the blue portions of the permanent easements. We've got permanent and temporary construction easements along the majority of the route, and then we've got a permanent access easement to allow TRA personnel to get back to the easement off of Lewis Lane. So all those easements are laid out for you on the screen here. We've put together a little summary of the acreages and the cost to procure the easements for the project. Everything on this project is associated with the pro rata cost share split that was developed for the project based on flows between Haslet and Fort Worth. And so we had budgeted, I believe, right around $200,000 for easements on the project. We've expended about $181,000 to acquire these easements here, so we're within budget on the project. And what we're asking you to do this evening is allow or accept the easements that are being presented to the city and allow us to get these filed for record at the courthouse. easement number 4, PSSE 4, and the TCE 4. Mr. French was able to get those dedicated by that warehouse, back in March, I believe it was. The rest of them are set up. We have not got the ink dried on easement number 5. However, the checks are cut, and we're just working with the property owner to get his associate up here so they can sign or get their checks and sign their easement documents. But this has been a process to get these easements, we'll say that.
Very
We'll leave it
good.
at that.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
Council, you have any questions with regard to these easements?
Mayor Halsey, I did. Can you go back to the page 1 with the description?
Sure.
I guess my question, and maybe I misread it and everything here, but you said that the 181,000 was within our budget that we'd already presented, but I saw something I thought in here said that we're taking 181,000 from contingency.
No, that's a different item.
That's a different item?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir, we've got 1 point, can you go to the next sheet there, James? We had 1 point, well, I believe we had $1.8 million for the project. And your total estimated project cost for the city's right at $950,000. So we're within the project budget on this one. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, council? If not, I entertain a motion, please.
Mayor Halsey?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve and accept the dedicated easements for construction of TRA HC-6 Henrietta Creek 24-inch sanitary sewer line.
Motion is made to accept the dedicated easements for the construction of the TRA HC-6 Henrietta Creek 24-inch sanitary sewer line. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I second.
There is a second. Any other discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item 9B, discuss, consider, and act on the award of a construction contract for the Trinity River Authority HC-6 Henrietta Creek 24-inch sanitary sewer line. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir. So what we have before you this evening is a recommendation to award a construction contract for the line that we just accepted easements on. This is the replacement 24-inch line that will serve portions of Fort Worth as well as Haslet and will eventually become part of TRA's system. We're tying into an existing TRA line on the west side, and then up on the northeast portion of the project in the creek, there will be a replacement interceptor being done by TRA in the future. This line was designed and permitted, and then we went through the easement acquisition process. We actually received 14 bids on this project, which was pretty unique. We haven't seen that much interest in a project since like 2009. So that was good. We got some good numbers. I believe the low bid was $1,384,000 roughly. There's a bid tab attached in your packet. The design engineer recommends that we award the project to Acadia Services. They're actually doing a large line in Fort Worth at the moment, so they were able to take advantage of being in the area doing a project up the line, so to speak. And we recommend that the project be awarded to them. We're also asking for a 5% construction contingency amount just to facilitate any change orders on the project. Speaking to the budget, Mr. Ricketts on the let's see, on the next page of the council report, James, maybe we can go to there we go. So there's a kind of a total project cost summary and breakdown that we've got for the project. We've got all the engineering design, soft cost, et cetera, up at the top there for the project total. And then we've got a column for Haslet's shares and Fort Worth's share of the project, again, based on flows. We've got Haslet's 100% share of the program management, construction administration, and the project management for the project. And then Down at the bottom, you'll see the construction contract amount and 5% recommended contingency, bringing the total estimated project cost to right around $2.3 million. And if you plug in the 38.73 cost percent for Haslet's share, you're looking at $981,000. And there's currently roughly $1.7 million in the budget for the project. So this project was budgeted two years ago before we even knew what size the line was going to be. I think we had it about $800,000 then. We did some budget adjustments once we saw how much larger the line was going to be than originally contemplated. We made some budget adjustments last year, but happy to report we're under budget, and I wouldn't say we're on schedule with the developer, but we're where we're at this point. And so we're recommending that we award the contract to Acadia Services in the amount of $1,384,967, and that a 5% construction contingency be authorized for use. Are there any questions on the project?
I've got a question.
Yes, sir.
On the 5% contingency, what are some of the field conditions that you foresee, and is that enough? Is 5% enough?
I think 5% is a reasonable amount on this job. The depth of the line it's only about 5 feet deep in most spots. There was extensive geotechnical work as well as subsurface utility engineering done to identify any potential conflicts with other known underground facilities. However, anytime you go underground, you're subject to potentially encountering something that may need to be relocated, or have something come up during the tunneling effort underneath Westport Parkway. That's kind of two examples of what we might need that construction contingency for. Any other questions?
All right, council. So the amount is, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Anderson, is $1,384,967 plus $69,284.35% in that 5% contingency. Is that correct?
Correct. Those two numbers would need to be added together.
Do you have that added together? Is that the $101,418,000? I don't have my calculator with me.
Oh, yeah, you caught me with my.
that's the 1,418.
Somebody's gonna let me borrow a calculator, bear with me.
You know what? The motion can be made citing those separate numbers. We don't need to wait for a calculator. Unless you have any other questions, council, please entertain a motion.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to award the construction contract to Acadia Services for $1,384,967 plus a 5% contingency of $69,248.35 for the Trinity River HE6 Henrietta Creek 24-inch sanitary sewer line.
Motion is made to award this contract to Acadia Services LLC for the TRA HC6 Henrietta Creek 24-inch sanitary sewer line in the amount of $1,384,967, and then also approve a contingency, 5% contingency in the amount of $69,284.35. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I'll second that.
There is a second.
It was $48. I think it was 48, not 84. Correct? Okay.
What are you,
You said 84 instead of 48.
oh, excuse me, 48. Talking about 69,248.35?
Yes, sir.
All right, stand corrected, it's $69,248.35. Anyway, there was a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Item 9C, discuss, consider, and act on construction contract award with Traffic Highway Maintenance LLC for the 2024 Traffic Mitigation and Signage Plan Phase 2. Mr. Anderson.
Yes, sir. So back in 2022, the staff, we put together a traffic mitigation plan. If you'll recall, we implemented Phase 1 of that plan in 2023, I believe it was. The majority of that work being done in the Laterra subdivision and then along Blue Mound Road. There were some improvements also done in the Ashmore Farms neighborhood. This is Phase 2 of that project. If you recall, we recommended that we implement in 2 phases because of the necessary TxDOT approvals associated with this project. The mayor worked diligently for about a year or better to work with TxDOT to get what you see approved. And so we were able to get a permit to construct, operate, and maintain the facilities that are being proposed as part of this contract, which generally just consists of pavement markings and signage, directing folks to not block the intersections as indicated in these construction plans. And so we put this out for bids. We did receive 2 bids back that were summarized in your packets. We are recommending that we award to Traffic Highway Maintenance LLC. They were the low bidders on the first project that we did, and they were a great group to work with. And so we don't anticipate having any issues with this project. Once the signage and the poles come in for mounting and everything comes back, they indicated they should probably have this project done in less than a week. They haven't given me a schedule or when they'll be doing the work, but as soon as that's available, we'll make sure that gets put out for everyone. But really not a large project for them, but an important project for the city. So we're excited to get it going. And we've got some information in your packet here. And I'll be happy to answer any other questions that you might have, as well as walk through the memo if needed.
I do need to make note that should the council approve this project, TxDOT requires that we advertise that this work is going to be constructed 3 weeks in advance before the work begins, to give the traveling public notice that there will be some road closure. We'll use our website, social media, and our reader boards that we have, both on the north and south side.
Mayor Halsey?
Yes.
Do we know, is our plan to do the construction at night, or do we know that the closure is going to be affecting?
I would presume they would do the work at night. We'll find out when we have our pre-construction meeting with the contractor. There was no stipulation in the permit that the work had to be done at night, but I would presume this type of work would be done at night for traffic control purposes. But as soon as we have our pre-con and we get their schedule, we'll let everybody know. Yes, sir.
I don't know if this question is for Mr. Halsey and Mr. Anderson, but I looked over this. I didn't see any changes, but is this the same? Nothing is addition to our traffic mitigation and signage plan that we previously approved?
Back in 2022?
Correct.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
With regard to funding, funding would come, and it was noted here that be from the contingency for the review of Fund 26. This project lies in Fund 26 as part of the certificate of obligation. And that CO, those funds have earned approximately $500,000 in interest, and we would transfer this project cost from that interest, and that movement would all occur in that one fund. Ms. Lamb, you want to speak any more to that?
Just the report you have in your packet this evening for the capital project shows that interest earnings in Fund 26 is $507,277.84 at the end of December. And if you'll remember, when we were working with the COs, originally we were told that we could spend up to approximately 75% of that interest earnings, which this isn't all there's going to be. There'll be more interest earnings, so we're well within the parameters to be able to do that.
If there's no other questions, would entertain a motion, please. And that contract amount, Mr. Anderson, $100,528.61.
Mayor Halsey, I just have one additional question, because I think this is the one I was thinking about earlier on the aspect, and I wasn't involved in the budget sessions beforehand, Marcy, but I understand this is coming from contingency, and we do have the funding available to cover it, but did we not consider this? I thought we'd had as a line in the budget for this year.
We have a line item in that budget, but unfortunately, it got away from everybody and it's blank. And we would use this interest earnings, not the contingency, the interest earnings within this Fund 26. And this is a Fund 26 project.
I just would remember
Yeah.
we talked about it 2 years ago about the traffic mitigation
Yes.
plan and had it, and I just was, that's what, it caught me a little bit off guard that we didn't have a separate line in there. But I understand now.
Thank you. If there are no other questions, I would entertain a motion, please.
Mayor Halsey,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the construction contract with Traffic Highway Maintenance LLC for the 2024 traffic mitigation and signage plan for a total of $100,528.61, which includes the 25% contingency.
Motion is made to award this construction contract to Traffic Highway Maintenance LLC for the 2024 Traffic Mitigation and Signage Plan Phase 2 in the amount of $100,528.61, which includes the 25% contingency. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I will second. Can we clarify it's coming from the Fund 26 interest earnings?
It is. And would you amend your motion to clarify it's coming from the Fund 26 interest earnings?
I will amend the motion to say that it will come from the Fund 26 interest earnings.
So the motion is amended, and is there a second to that?
I'll second.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. The residents along 156 will greatly appreciate this. Item 9D, discuss, consider, and act on approving an amendment to the subdivision ordinance and zoning ordinance clarifying sidewalk requirements and responsibilities. That is Mr. Schwanke and Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, you want to kick it off?
Mr. Mayor and Council, thank you very much. This is an attempt was made to bring together our current subdivision ordinance and zoning ordinance. Had these sidewalks scattered here, there, and everywhere. There were different sizes, different things, and it was not well written as to how and what was maintained and what wasn't maintained. So we wrote this all up to try to bring all that together into one spot where you can go find it now instead of having to hunt from page to page, and put in there, take out the gray areas and make it black and white, who's responsible for taking care of what sidewalks. We went to P&Z, the Planning and Zoning Commission went through the whole thing and only had one change that they wanted, and that was on the times when a sidewalk is found to be defective, that any replacement goes back, matching whatever was in that area, so we don't end up with a 4-foot repair that has a 5-foot piece in it if it was a 4-foot sidewalk to begin with, or a 5-foot with a 4-foot. It's all going to be whatever was already existing, and all new now has an exact size of 5 feet from this point forward as we go into the future.
Mr. Rogers, can you summarize what this change is? Who is responsible?
This just puts, most of this is The property owner is responsible for their sidewalks, just because since they're put in with their house, with their building, that's where they are. The only sidewalks that are not are ones that are built by the city, such as here in Old Town, the city did a grant, built all of these sidewalks. The trail sidewalks along Schoolhouse Road, all of those would always be our responsibilities. In our parks, all of those always would be ours, but this would, the property owners would be responsible for their little piece in front of their house.
So subdivisions that,
Yeah, the HOAs are responsible for all their HOA sidewalks, so there's,
Does a permit need to be pulled for this to repair?
it should be, that's the thing that we're trying to get fixed up so that from now on they will. They'll pull a permit, there'll be an actual standard they'll have to follow that will be done, because they will be getting a right-of-way permit for building in our right-of-ways. And so we will actually have an inspection based on and a standard for it. That'll be in the ordinance, they can go and find.
and these are more particularly kind of question, those sidewalks that are built in the subdivisions that are the developer's responsibility to build,
Under our.
and,
PFA,
but is transferred to each individual home builder.
Yeah.
As a new home is constructed, that sidewalk is built. So these are the sidewalks we're speaking of.
Yes. All the HOA built, all the park built, all the city built, those are totally separate animals.
Any questions, council?
I have one question, and again, it goes to what you were just saying too, and I'm just thinking about future projects down the road, and I'm thinking about specifically FM 156, when they develop that down FM 156. We've got a lot of large areas, especially Hugh White, that's going to end up becoming sidewalks potentially there. Is that going to then be city since it's 156? Or is that going to be on those Hugh White residents?
That's the fun part, is that's in TxDOT right away, and so anything with those sidewalks falls to TxDOT.
So at 156, yes, that would be a tax dot item.
I was just, when we talked about the residents, I was just concerned, so.
Oh, yeah, that's why we kept all of them like anything that's built by us as a government like. We will be stuck with all the ones on Haslet Parkway because we built them in our right of way.
Okay.
So we will have those will be ours.
So this is this affects a subdivision, residential subdivision, that's what this is focused on.
I got one other question. So let's say a sidewalk is in disarray. Is this something that code compliance brings to the homeowner's attention? It's either the homeowner comes and asks for a permit, or code compliance tells them that they need to repair?
Code enforcement, depending upon, somebody may complain. They're not actively going out just hunting for sidewalk cracks or something, but if somebody calls in a complaint for one, code enforcement would go out and check those.
And then the residents required to go get a permit and then have it repaired themselves? Thank you.
Now, let me ask, there are evidently many other cities that have this same practice, is that correct?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we are surrounded by a lot. There are ones that take it upon themselves, but they usually have a separate taxing fee or something that they cover this stuff through. But Flower Mound over here, they don't. Theirs are all, Jason property owner takes care of the sidewalks. Fort Worth doesn't take care of them. Dallas doesn't take care of them. It's just one of those things nobody else hardly does it. There are a few that do, and like I say, almost all have some sort of special tax, or they have a deal through a couple of them use their street funds. That way they bring in tax money to cover it through their tax, and they take care of them, but most of them that don't have that mechanism, it's left up to the property owner.
That's what I was going to ask you, like our street maintenance fund, what currently pays for the downtown, the tap trail, and the Westport?
Currently, the downtown ones would come in probably, most likely as a project under the street ones. Tap trails and stuff, that's all being done through park, since that's what paid for most of that. So that's how most of those are done.
Council?
Mayor Halsey,
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion.
please.
A motion to approve the amendment to the subdivision ordinance and the zoning ordinance clarifying sidewalk requirements and responsibilities as presented.
Motion is made to approve the amendments to the subdivision ordinance and zoning ordinance clarifying sidewalk requirements and responsibilities as presented. Is there a second?
Yes, Mayor, I'll second that.
There is a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council. Item 10, executive session. The City Council reserves the right to adjourn into executive session during the course of the meeting to seek legal advice from its attorney on any item on the posted agenda as authorized by Section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code. Additionally, pursuant to the provisions of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code, City Council may adjourn into executive session in accordance with the authority contained in Section 551.071 Government Code, consultation with attorney pending contemplated litigation, settlement offer, or seek advice from the city attorney, and very specifically speaking on street failures. All right, I recess the open session at 7:42. Council, if you would meet in the boardroom in 10 minutes, you can take a short break, and we'll convene the executive session in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Because he's got to start covering part of that over there too.
All right, the council is present in open chambers. The time is 8:17 PM, and we will resume the open session. Item 11, there are no action items to take as a result of the executive session. Item 12, future agenda items. We have the QT Community Facilities Agreement coming and the call of the May 2025 May election. It's coming. Is there anything to be, any future agenda items? All right, then, adjourn. May I have a motion?
Mayor Halsey, I move to adjourn.
Motion's made to adjourn. Is there a second?
Mayor Halsey, I second.
There's a second. All in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, council.